Yeah, he threw a phone at me and hit me. And I'm going, where? I don't see a cut, a bruise. It's not right what she did and what happened for so many people to get affected. It's insane.
She booked the couple's travel and told the court she would reserve an extra hotel room for Johnny to escape when he and Amber fought. Depp looked solemn as she also testified about their abusive mother, explaining that Amber often triggered Johnny.
She called him an old fat man.
The official trial between Depp and Heard has been going on for a few days now, and as a result of that, things are getting very interesting. A set of people have already testified and cross-examined, and more are to come in the trial as it's expected to last a few weeks in total. But for one of the ones being called for Depp, things didn't go as planned, as their testimony was stricken from the record entirely. So how did that happen? And what does this mean for Johnny as a whole? We'll break it down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Do you want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winner will be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck. Number 6. The dismissal. The judge overseeing Depp's defamation trial against Amber Heard dismissed one of his witnesses on Thursday after the witness admitted to watching clips of the trial online. Georgina Duders, who also goes by Gina Duders and is the wife of one of Depp's longtime employees and collaborators, Stephen Duders, was called to the stand by Depp's legal team on Thursday, the third day of the testimony in the trial. Duders, however, was dismissed from the stand shortly after describing how Heard offered her MDMA at Heard and Depp's wedding in 2015. Heard's lawyers then asked for a conference with Judge Penny Escarte, who presided over the trial in Fairfax County in Virginia. After speaking with the attorneys, the judge told jurors to leave the room and then asked Duders whether she watched any of the trial testimony prior to taking the stand. I've seen clips of it online, yeah, Duders said. Escarte then told Duders she was dismissed and could leave the courthouse. She said she'd strike Duders' testimony from the record and that the jury will be told not to take what she said into consideration when they eventually deliberate. The court is striking the testimony of Gina Duders from the record in its entirety, Escarte told jurors when they returned. So yeah, that's something you only usually see in courtroom dramas on TV or in movies, but it does happen in real life and for good reason. You see, there are rules that both witnesses, jury members, lawyers, and so on have to follow in order to ensure bias, and other things don't go on. It might seem odd that a person in a court case can't watch their own court case, but it can influence them over time, such as if they see something that another witness said and want to contradict them or counter what they said or did. And so even though she saw a few clips, that was enough for the wire to be tripped, if you will, and the dismissal was granted. But that doesn't mean her words didn't have an impact. Number 5. Her testimony. Before Duders was excused, she spoke about how she and her husband first met Depp in 2004 after working on his film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She said her husband started working exclusively with Depp from then on, first as an assistant and later as a writer and producer. Stephen Duders still works for Depp. Duders said the first time she met Heard was while she and Depp filmed The Rum Diary. By the time she next saw Heard a couple years later during a premiere for the movie in London, Depp and Heard were together. She recalled hanging out with her husband, Depp, and Heard on another occasion after that premiere and feeling that Heard was being standoffish with her. Duders said she was excited to spend time with Heard because she was Johnny's new girl, but said Heard didn't really engage or acknowledge Duders or her husband, which is fine. She said, "We're staff." A very magnanimous way of looking at things, but we honestly appreciate it because sometimes people expect too much of others, and by her accounts, things did get better with Heard as time went on. Duders said they connected more when they both spent time visiting their partners on the set of The Lone Ranger soon afterward. Duders says she and Heard went shopping at vintage stores together and got coffee while on location for that film. She said Heard was really lovely, really sweet, and that they would get along really well. "She's very charming," Duders said, and because of the new bond they had, they were able to talk about much deeper matters. Number 4, frustrations. Duders said Heard opened up to her on that trip about relationship frustrations. "I remember going for a coffee and she seemed frustrated. I don't think Johnny was ready to go public with their relationship yet, and I think that was frustrating her," Duders recalled. Another incident that stuck out to her was a dinner during the Lone Ranger press tour. Duders said she noticed Depp hiding a flute of champagne under the table during the dinner and secretly taping sips of it throughout the evening. "I just noticed she kind of saw that and was quite angry about it. I couldn't hear what was said, but he seemed to get it telling off, which was kind of weird, like telling off a child," Duders said. Number 3, substance AB. In her response to Depp's lawsuit, Heard said that Depp regularly assaulted her, often while under the influence of drugs or alcohol, saying he would become a monster. The scope of Depp's drug use has become an issue in the trial. Both Deuters and Depp's sister, who testified at the start of the trial, have appeared to downplay any drug or alcohol problem on Depp's part. Deuter said she saw Depp drink and do drugs, specifically marijuana and cocaine, in the nearly 2 decades she'd known him. She said Depp holds his liquor well and that she's never seen him drunk. She said drinking made him more jovial, and she never saw much of a difference in his personality when he took cocaine, which she estimated she witnessed him take about 20 times during celebratory occasions. Following Deuters, lawyers for Depp played a deposition video from David Kipper, a doctor who treated Depp for substance AB. He said Depp told him he became addicted to opioids after a medical procedure and sought help to treat his drug addiction and detoxify. Furthermore, it was noted that Heard was one of the people who helped Johnny get clean, and yet that was not something she noted before, as she was focused solely on painting Depp as a substance abuser on multiple levels. Number 2, struck from the record. Now you might be curious as to why we're still talking about this new witness after they were struck from the record. Well, here's the thing. Have you ever walked in on a conversation you were never supposed to hear? Like 2 people fighting, or talking about a topic you never wanted to accidentally eavesdrop on? And then when the people you overheard saw you there, they told you to forget what you heard? Did you actually forget it? Or did you just stick it in your mind like a recording that you kept hearing over and over again for some time? You have to remember, the jury in this case has one job: to hear everyone and see the evidence presented, and then render a verdict. They heard from Deuters for some time before she was dismissed. That's why there's so much detail about her testimony in court. Yes, she was dismissed, and her words can't be taken into account in the official record. But the unofficial record is still very much in play here, and if one of the things Deuters said, or multiple things she said, ranged true from one jury member, they're not going to forget it. Number 1, adding on to what came before. The other thing to consider is that this wasn't the first witness presented. It was one of several to come forward so far in this case, including Depp's sister and the neighbor that he and Heard had when they were living together in LA during their quote violent periods. Both of them said similar things to what Deuter said, including that Depp was having certain issues with drugs. His own sister confirmed this. They had verbal fights, which the neighbors heard at times, but they didn't see any violent altercations between them, nor did they see any marks on Heard's face and body afterward like she claimed she had. The neighbor even noted that after one alleged fight, he saw Heard from 2 feet away and she didn't have a mark on her. When you add that to some of the things Deuter said, including how Depp was when under the influence, that makes a pattern. And patterns are what juries look for. So yes, dismissing this witness was a blow to Depp's case in the overall. But because of what she said before she left, it might not be a total loss. And there you have it, everyone. A look at the new and interesting set of circumstances that happened in the Depp Heard case and how things might just stack up over time due to this. Do you think that this is going to hurt Johnny because their testimony was potentially vital to this case? Or do you think that this won't matter as much as they think because her words were said before she was forced to leave? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.